So very, very good morning to everyone present here. And I thank you all for inviting me to this distinguished school. Children, turn your pages to 121 and look at the picture you see. Great. I had no book in Braille, and I obviously could not see the picture. There were no tactile diagrams, even in the sighted books. So challenge number 1 was staring me at the face. Great. No one took notice of me. I had to sit with my head down, feeling dejected in that classroom. While everyone had turned their pages to the designated page, and everyone was reading and looking at the pictures, and the teacher was rambling away with the lesson, and I understood half, and I didn't understand the rest. It was only then that it struck them that I was not like them. I was blind. I was different. Not only that day, but many days went by where I had to sit at the back of the class with my head down, either sharpening someone's pencil, playing with plasticine, or doing something or the other with my hands, just to keep myself occupied. When I was asked a question, I would either be told to sit down. Why? Because I was blind, and my blindness hindered me from answering questions. Now, could you believe that? That was the challenge I faced in school. I came home and I told my parents, I said, this is the challenges I'm facing. What am I supposed to do? And they didn't take any notice of me, and they just said, well, this happens to millions and millions of blind people all over the world, and this is that and that and that. Well, I started my schooling in England, as my father was posted there as the Indian liaison officer. And that was learning by doing and learning with playing and a lot of things. And I came back after 2 years, and this is the challenge I faced in India. So then I was shifted to different schools, and I faced more and more challenges. And then the next setback, in fact, 2 setbacks in a row. My father had to go and fight the Kargil war and defend the country. And a few months later, I lost my mom. So this left me at a crossroad. I did not know what to do, where to go, who would look after me, what would happen. All these questions were in my mind. But then a small voice inside me told me, Tiffany, don't give up. Don't give up. It's not the end of the world. You're only blind. But according to the society, I was a girl, I was blind, I had no mother, my father was in his career, and what am I going to do? Poor blind girl. That was my challenge. But then I learned to overcome this challenge. I woke up and started to walk forward. I started to walk forward, and I vowed never to stop this walk. I decided no one is going to break me down. I had 2 choices then. As I stood at that crossroad of my life, I had 2 choices. I could either make my life or break it. I could either remain a liability to my parents and to my society, or I could become an asset. So it was all about becoming an asset. It was all about from a liability to an asset. And I chose the latter, to become an asset. Yes, I chose to become an asset, and an asset that would never be forgotten. So I went on with my schooling. I passed my +2 with good grades, but I again faced many challenges. We got no Braille materials, and even if we got them too late, so I couldn't really study, but then I still managed, and I managed with a reasonably good percentage. I then could not perform my daily activities because I was not really taught, but then I was taught that, and I went ahead with life. I went to college, and even in college I faced challenges. I was not allowed to go out with my friends. My friends would go for a movie, and I would be sitting at the back of the class again with my head down, dejected. My friends would say, let's do this, let's do that, but oh, Tiffany, what will she do? She'll fall down. You're blind. This, that. Again, the isolation and the segregation hit me like a bullet. God. But I decided to overcome that challenge too. I soon started working, and then I learned mobility. I learned how to use a white cane, and I learned how to travel myself, which would prevent me from this isolation. So what if my friends didn't take me? I would go. I would still follow them. I would go, and I would make my mark. I then did my B.Ed in special education, and I learned all the necessary skills that I needed. And then I decided I must do something. I must make that change. But how? I visited many blind people, and I wanted to know whether there were any more backbenchers like me. There were any more children dejected in the classroom with their heads down. There were any more children to turn pages and look at pictures which did not exist in their books. And there were plenty. There were plenty. And I seemed to relate to them. I was the only one who empathized with them because I was that person too. And when you are that person, when you have gone through those challenges, it really makes a difference. It really helps you to make a difference in the world. But most people who have started blind organizations or other kinds of organizations are sighted or are not challenged or not impaired. They just say, oh, we do this for the blind, we do this for the deaf, we do this, we do that. But have you been deaf? Have you actually experienced that? Have you actually been isolated? Have you actually spoken in sign language with your ears closed? Have you actually walked blindfolded? No. But I started a blind organization. That's what they say. And I know everything, but you don't. The truth is that you have to really be that person, and that is what helps. So I knew the problems of my fellow blind colleagues. I knew what they faced. If they said, oh, we don't have Braille books, I knew they don't have Braille books because I didn't get any Braille books. So where are you going to get them from? We have to get them. We have to do it together. That's what I told them. And that was the strength that I got. But some people didn't give me that strength. Some people just wanted the old system to continue. Some people just did not want that change. That was also another challenge. Some stood with me for this, and some was like, oh, let the government do this and let others do that, and we don't care. I mean, So that was also a challenge. Discouragement, lack of support. But I took no notice, and I started the Jyotirgamaya Foundation. I first started as a mobile blind school where I used to travel to houses, and houses in rural areas and in public transport, which would take me an hour or 2 hours to travel from one place to another in 2 or 3 buses with my white cane. Sometimes I would get off the bus and walk long distances to people's houses. I would talk to their parents, I would counsel them. Some parents thought I was talking rubbish and this meant nothing, and their children were the only suffering people in the world. They were like, you don't know what you're talking about. I said, hello, I have a white cane in my hand too. I'm blind too, can't you see? I know what I'm talking about. And then they saw what I was talking about. They saw that I was just like their children. And if I could do that, their children could. There were even middle-aged people who became blind later in life and who had no hope. There was my student, 28-year-old Vinod, who had no hope. He was sitting in his house waiting for some magical prince to come, and I went as a magical prince. I wouldn't say that, but yeah, I went. And I took him out. I said, come on, come out. And he attended one of my camps, 2 of my camps, and then he came to learn. He learned computers, he learned how to use a phone, and then he went further to learn sound editing, and now he's not even been to school, and he's written his exams, and now he earns 10,000 rupees a month. He's a computer trainer. He has a permanent job. And that's great. That's something to be proud of. That's change. That's change staring me in the eyes. The change that I was able to make. I have a similar student too who's not been to school and who now uses a phone and a computer and who travels all over Kerala. Yeah, and there are many such more examples. There are many of my students who have got jobs. So what we do is we go to these houses, we talk to them, we talk to their parents, and then we bring them back to our training center. And in our training center, we give them some intense training, intense confidence building. Blind people need that. We teach them access technology, language, soft skills, how to move around, how to use this white cane, and how to be recognized, how to integrate, how to shine their lamps, because we do have a lamp to shine. We have our inner lamps. It doesn't matter that we can't see. But that darkness, and that's what I mean when I say Jyotirgamaya. Yesterday, Mr. Corey was asking me, what do you mean by Jyotirgamaya? And I said, Jyotirgamaya means leading to light, but not leading to light like giving them their sight. I'm not a miracle worker, but I can make that inner light burn. I often go to churches and I often go to many other places and people say, pray for your eyesight, God will give it to you. I don't want to pray for my eyesight. God does not want to give it to me. How do you know what God wants? God wants something else. He wants me to do something else in life. He wants me to be a purpose, to be a living example for some other blind person. That's why He made me blind, to show the way to another blind person. And in our organization, and we don't only promote learning, study. We also want enjoyment, entertainment, equal adventure. Have you seen a blind person enjoy themselves? I mean, this morning I was asking the principal, how about playing basketball? Yes, I want to do such things. Have you seen a blind person do paragliding or skydiving or tandem cycling? Well, see for yourself. Well, that is, I think we should change our definition of disability being the inability. And I think disability is possibility, right? Does anyone agree? Yes. Disability is possibility. Yes. Disability, yeah. It's not inability, it's not challenge. It's opening the way to a lot of new opportunities. It does a lot. And our blind students have also done a few of these activities, like rope climbing and rope riding, tandem cycling too. When we are small, we're often told, you can't. And when I wanted to do sports and when I wanted to run with my friends, I was not allowed to do that. They said, you can't run, you can't do this, you'll fall, you can't catch a ball, you can't do that. And I was often isolated. And so are so many other disabled children. I mean, they can be physically challenged, they can be visually challenged. We're often told that, oh, you can't do this, you'll fall. I mean, I'm sure if I was small and I did this, and my mother would probably have said, oh, no, you can't. You'll fall down, beta, you'll die, something will happen, this and that. But no, nothing will happen. We have all these laws and legislations like the UNCRPD, like the RPWD Act, so on and so forth, which say equal participation in everything, sports, recreation, adventure, equal access to all public and private services. Is this happening? Is this actually running in our country? It's only in theory. It's only on paper. When you see our roads, are they accessible today? When you see our disabled people, are they allowed to do all these adventures? Even our currency, our Indian currency notes, are they accessible? No, they are not accessible. They have two similar sizes. If there's a size difference, they would be more accessible. I'm taking up this issue with the government right now, and I plan to do that. There are so many challenges which we are facing, and nobody knows. We are too scared to come up and to shout and say, these are the challenges we face. Why? Because we think that we will not be accepted. People will, not listen to us. But whether people listen or not, it's our duty to make our voices heard, to embrace these challenges, to take them up and to change them, to change ourselves, to change our environment and make it disabled friendly. Only then can we become assets. Otherwise, we remain liabilities. It's our choice. That's what I keep telling my students and my blind colleagues. Don't wait for the government. Don't wait for people to solve your problems. Get down there and try and solve them yourself. Yes, I don't want to see. Why don't I want to see? Because I want to still continue being that example. If I was able to see, does anyone think I would still be here talking about disability? I'm sure I wouldn't. I would maybe be married to some handsome, sturdy army officer, or I would have been, or I would have probably been abroad in the best college, squandering my father's money, or squandering my boyfriend's money. I don't know, but I would not be here. I would not be standing here. I would not be with my blind colleagues who need me today. So it is these challenges. It is these challenges that I face. It is because I became blind, because I faced these challenges in childhood, that I am able to relate to the challenges of other blind people today. And it is because of that that I'm able to start my own organization to help other blind people not to face these challenges, to help other schools not to make these blind people be backbenchers, but to make them be frontbenchers, and to make them be top of the class and not bottom of the class. And in the future, to have books in India with Braille and tactile, to make people write their exams on computers. This is already happening, yes. But if only we face these challenges, do we know what they are? So yes, I am in support of this theme. The challenge is a great catalyst to making change, to making that difference, to making that lamp burn. And I would like to leave you guys with one thought. All you students from different parts of the world with a global soul can make that difference, irrespective of the fact that you have not faced the challenges that I have. You have not faced the challenges of a differently able person. But there are more challenges in different ways, and you can solve more problems. Make a difference in a different way. And always enable your target group, the people who are facing adversity and problems. Don't treat them with sympathy, like that poor woman who I meet every day when I cross the road and says, "Isn't there anyone to help you? Oh, you poor thing." No, treat me with empathy and say, "Hey, do you want to cross the road?" Yes. That is what every person needs. Love and empathy and courage to overcome their challenges. Keep your light burning and burn someone else's lamp if you can. So, from a liability to an asset. Thank you all.